We believe in obeying, honoring, and sustaining the law.
Okay, Travis Wayne Goodsell. People are out of church because the views have again skyrocketed for the White Cracker video. I had to delete Steve Smith's comment because he was being abusive, and I will discuss that in this video here. We'll catch up on a couple of comments though before we get to it. Okay, somebody's calling me Darth Vader. Mormon is bull. Okay. So let's get to the comments. That's just what happens when you go to the dark side, Darth Vader buddy. I don't understand what you're trying to say, Dave Watson, because this was comparable to the Bible. So do not understand. Darth Vader buddy. I don't understand what you're trying to say. I don't get it. I'm gonna delete it because I don't get it. But I recognize the Star Wars reference. So I don't understand how it applies. Are you saying Joseph of Egypt was a part of the dark side, and that you're anti-Bible, and then you're pro-evil, and then you're calling evil good and good evil? So yeah, you're confusing me here, Dave Watson. So gone. See, because the title of the video is LDS Mormons Hate Me for Dreams I Have Dreamed. And then Dave responds with, that's just what happens when you go to the dark side, Darth Vader buddy. I don't get it. Mormons hate me because I've gone to the dark side? Doesn't make any sense. That you'd think Mormons would want to love me back rather than hate me. So Dave, I don't get what you're trying to say. If you're being sarcastic or if you're mocking, I don't get it. So deleted for incoherency. Mormon is bull. Mark Polacci. I probably butchered that last name. He's responding to Harold Josie's comments. So, what was that comment?
So remember the article on this?
Whoops, wait a minute, what are you doing? Stop! Okay, it goes back to the 3,199. Oh, we're almost at 3.2K. And 49 thumbs down for the text still wrong. Okay, Why haven't I deleted Harold Josie? Did somebody step in? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Harold Josie was trying to threaten me, and so I said I will not be silenced, and that's what this video is going to discuss. So, great lead-ins. Alrighty. That's right. We're talking politics. No! Exit! Exit! Alrighty. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or, here's what we're discussing, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and then to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And so Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people peaceably to assemble. And what does that mean? Well, what is YouTube? Is YouTube an entertainment forum where it's free for all? Everybody is free to speak whatever they want? No. You can't put criminal videos on YouTube. You know, you can't do rapes, snuff films, sexual assaults of children. You know, you guys know this. Those are crimes. But also, what else does it mean? Peaceably to assemble. This is my channel on YouTube. It is not your channel, but you are welcome to visit my channel. I, according to my First Amendment right, and YouTube cannot violate this, even though they are, I have the right to peaceably assemble on this site and to post my free speech. But it can't be hate speech. It can't be criminal speech. It can't be anything that violates the rights of others. And the rights consist of life, liberty, property. Those three things. Tres. Cinco? No. Cinco is 5. And yet, what happens on my videos, as an example? Am I allowed to peacefully assemble? No. People aren't letting me. People are coming on to my channel, threatening my life, threatening me to be silent, to stop going against the church. And am I lying? No. I'm not committing any crimes. I'm not violating anybody's rights. I am standing up against those who are taking away the rights of others. The church is not immune from accountability. Just because they're a religion and the First Amendment says you shall not abridge the freedom of religion. But they can't commit crimes. Nobody is free to commit crimes. Nobody is free to bully and troll, cyber trolling. Nobody is free to hate. Nobody is free to lie. And yet we are in a situation where America is dismissing truth. They're infiltrated science to promote fake science, which is an attempt to destroy science credibility altogether. And we have the news that lies. They give opinions rather than news. They don't cover the news. They select what they want to choose to cover. And what they do cover, they put a spin on it, as it's called. They interpret it. You're not supposed to interpret the news. News is fact. You're supposed to state the fact. So at the border, what is Fox doing in their reporting of the news about the border? Well, they follow Trump. That's why they're called Trump TV. So they say illegal immigrants are trying to get in to America to take away your jobs, to kill you in the night, carrying diseases, calling them animals, calling them gangsters, Muslims. And then they're using sex trafficking as an excuse. None of those are facts. All of those are hate speech. Because what is the truth? Remember the phrase, innocent until proven guilty? Do you understand what that means? The people wanting to come into America are not guilty until proven innocent. If that's what's going on, which it is, the news needs to say that the refugees are denied entrance into America, or when they get into America, they are denied rights according to the rules of immigration. Those are the facts. What about the left wing? Left wing covers the news when it's Republicans. They're a little hesitant when it's Democrats or Democrat issues. It's already been revealed that MSNBC purposely doesn't cover certain news. So they're just as guilty as Fox in certain things. But if you paid attention during the midterms, the Democrat left-wing media were covering the Democrats in Congress who were threatening America. You need to vote us in or we're all doomed. Having two options to choose from is not a choice. And I don't want to be forced to choose another party to dominate over the other party. I don't want any party running my government. That's why we're in this mess. Our government is split in half, and it's split America because we failed to follow the Constitution of a constitutional republic form of government, not a socialist republic. You know, USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. So, as my channel, I am supposed to be protected by YouTube, who's running it. But they allow people to put thumbs down. That's bullying. That's hate speech in a non-verbal way. And that's a crime. And YouTube is perpetuating that crime, allowing people to do it. And just like the cracker video, 7 thumbs down now to 3 with 221 views, but 7 people are exhibiting their hatred. They are committing crimes against me, trying to deprive me of my rights, trying to silence me. And I see it with people who use unsound arguments in their comments. oh, you have more thumbs down than thumbs up, therefore your video is stupid. That's an unsound argument. Majority does not rule. We are not a democracy. We do not want to become a democracy. So, people just, it's amazing. We are in a crisis scenario here. Our nation is about to collapse, and people would rather fight amongst ourselves to continue the destruction rather than standing back and saying, wait a minute, what are we doing? I'm gonna stop this. And so it blows my mind as to why Twitter is allowing a president to have an account where he commits criminal action on a regular basis through tweets. He manipulates the economy through his tweeting. He establishes policy through his tweeting without consultation, without coordination. And he attacks people, taking away their liberty, taking away their lives. Because his tweets of hatred is causing an uprising of alt-right white supremacists, white crackers. And people are dying because of Trump. Other people are following his lead and his example to murder, to steal, to commit crimes. Trump's cabinet, they're all being investigated for crimes and corruption. Betsy DeVos, Zinke, others that I can't name. Trump claimed that he was going to get rid of the swamp. What we now realize is he was going to replace the Obama swamp, as he called it. And he put in his own swamp. That was his lie. And nobody's stopping him. Because nobody wants to follow the Constitution. Because the Constitution says the Constitution is the supreme law. No law shall be used to violate the rights of citizens. Any law that does is unconstitutional, automatically. We don't need a judge to tell us this. So what Trump did at the border, automatically wrong. He violated Congress. Congress's job is to regulate immigration, not the executive. Congress declares war, not the executive. So the Bush family, they were in the wrong. The Gulf War was an unjust war. The war on terror, an unjust war. And he thought he was getting away with it because, oh, I'm not actually declaring war against an actual country, even though we have to go into countries to fight. We are not following the Constitution. YouTube is not following the Constitution. Mormons are not following the Constitution. You are hypocrites. You claim the Constitution is divinely inspired, and you cry and you sing the national anthem on the Sunday service around the time of the 4th of July. But it's clear that you practice what you don't preach. You find it fine to lie, steal, and kill, murder. And so it seems useless to try to communicate with you anymore because you will not listen. You've already put the thumbs down on my video and have left. You are so full of hatred. You don't care about others' rights, but you want your rights when you get attacked or people stand up against you. You want your rights to commit crime, to lie, to steal, to murder. When people stand up for their rights, you all of a sudden twist it to demand your rights, to commit atrocities. And you victimize the victim in that process. And so you've seen my videos. You know the problems of the church. And yet Mormons, for some reason, think they have to come onto my channel where I am to peaceably assemble. And people do all sorts of comments to try to violate my rights. Some through silencing. Some through flattery, then attempt to silence. Mormons, you know very well what flattery is used from. Flattery, pacification, deception, and anger. Mormons are angry with me. And so some try to think they can get away with such tactics as flattering me. Oh, yeah, your presentation was well, but you should have done it this way. No, I shouldn't. If you want it done a certain way, don't project onto me. Do it yourself on your own channel. Because that's what you're doing when you're telling me you don't like the presentation that I'm using. I am not a professional. I'm just a regular citizen. You do not have the right to attack me, to silence me, to deprive me of any rights that I have, to peacefully assemble on YouTube. I don't go around to other Mormons and say, oh, you Mormons are haters, you guys are stupid, you're dumb, yeah, I really showed you. I don't do that. I already know that's a dumb thing for me to do in the first place. If you've not been paying attention to my videos, I'm trying to communicate with Mormons in the Mormon thinking process. I'm not coming at Mormons as an anti-Mormon. You know, I'm not saying just that Mormons are stupid, you guys are dumb, you're being led astray by Lucifer himself. If I say something like that, I'll have evidence and documentation and a causal connection that leads to such a statement. Because that would be sound rather than an ad hominem fallacy. And Mormons don't get that. Because that's a tactic of the Mormon apologetics, Mormon apologists, started by Daniel Peterson way back in the Farms days. And it blows my mind how Mormons would rather be stupid. They don't want to learn. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to research. They'd rather attack people on their channel. Now, yes, I purposely set up the title so that YouTube would recommend you to my channel. Recommend my channel to you. Because that's how they do it. It's all data information. And that's how you guys were fooled in the 2016 elections. Because Russia obtained Facebook data information about what you liked, what you clicked on, what you posted, and the app's questionnaires that you answered. They took that information, gave it to Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica gave it to the Russians. And then the Russians used the Facebook accounts they had to promote the anti-Hillary campaign and the pro-Trump campaign, or the disinformation campaign, pretending to be Hillary supporters but lying to you about how to vote. Just depends on the data you input. They knew how to target you. They knew how to manipulate you and pull your strings. And because I know that that's how they work, I then am well aware of how to get Mormons' attention. And right here, LDS Mormon Church President Nelson. How many Mormons look up LDS Church President Nelson? Exactly. And so when you see these shocking things after that, orders only white crackers for sacrament? See, that triggers your emotions. It triggers your curiosity. I've already got you with LDS Mormon Church President Nelson because of the way YouTube is set up. And so then I draw you in with a shocking part. Now, am I lying about white crackers? No. If you watched the video, you would know that I had a bishop in the older singles ward back in the day who didn't read the Book of Mormon, confessed it to me, and was terrorizing the singles ward. And people were leaving. We used to go all the way back in the cultural hall. And instead, we ended up not very far into the cultural hall. That many people had left because they didn't like him. And he ordered only white bread for the sacrament, in violation of God's law through his chosen prophet and founder of the church in Mormon thinking. So critics don't get that. And Bill Maher, in his real-time show, HBO show, I was able to see it on YouTube. He had a panel discussion, and the guy who wrote the book, Everything Trump Touches Dies, he made a comment about the Catholics and their crisis that they're having with pedophilia. And Bill Maher didn't understand why the Pope just doesn't come out and condemn it. And the other guy, this is in the overtime thing, so you can go onto their YouTube channel, Real Time with Bill Maher, and look at the overtime video. I'm not going to bother to link it. You can look it up. because it has language. Because it's HBO. It's not porn, it's HBO. If you can find that video, that's hilarious. I'm not going to link that one. But he was trying to help everybody understand that the Catholic Church believes they speak for God. They've been around for almost 2,000 years. And so you've got ingrained thinking of superiority, religious superiority. And so you don't just go after leadership. And I would say, yes, you do. But he was using Catholic thinking on this. But the thing that I would probably point out if I were in that panel discussion is, what about the Catholics who are victims of the leaders of their church? They're going through betrayal. They're going through a faith crisis. That's what ex-Mormons and former Mormons have gone through. They were betrayed by their church, the Mormon church. And they left. And yet Mormons still go after us. And so we're further victimized when we have had enough of the abuse and want no part of it. We are not allowed to peaceably assemble in our homes, in our societies, in a church where we're actually following God's law, following the example of He whom we call God. Jesus, for example. For the Jews, it's obviously not Jesus. But Jews are a perfect example of those who have been denied their rights throughout the world, throughout history. And so there's lots of false accusations that are spread. And yes, I'm aware of the false accusations against Mormons. And when critics see my videos and say, yeah, that Joseph Smith was a polygamist, burn him, I have to reply, no, your focus is wrong. Joseph Smith was set up. He was framed by Brigham Young, one of many who branched off after Joseph Smith's murder. Just because Brigham Young had a group, and they now are owning the state of Utah, doesn't make the Brighamite group the true Church of Jesus, the true successors of Joseph Smith. That's not how you decide what is true. And Mormons don't get that. But yeah, I understand, because I was born and raised Mormon. I was born with the mentality of tribalism, church over everyone else. And so when I read the first vision account, and Jesus tells Joseph Smith, don't join any other church because they're all wrong, I just automatically believe it. I don't research it as I should have, because I'm not taught to research it. I'm taught to accept whatever I'm told. But yeah, all churches are wrong, as I have now researched. But so is the Brighamite Church. And so we are reliving what Joseph Smith went through, or claimed to have gone through. We are living in that time. Because in the church itself are splinter groups different people with different beliefs about the church. And people stay in the church for different reasons. But only a select few are elevated. And that's where the discrimination comes in. That's where the church reveals their hatred, their segregation, their abuse, their crimes, their corruptions, their sexism, their bigotry, their racism. So, you're never going to get it. As long as you are allowed to abuse others without being held accountable, you're going to continue to do it. And I'll have to continually go through my comments in my notifications on my email and try to delete them as I come across them, banning you from my channel because you can't allow me my rights. That you are attacking me. I'm not attacking you. I'm going up against a Goliath that is taking away the rights of me and others. What right do you have to defend corruption and violate my rights on their behalf? See, because the church doesn't come after me, they know they've got you to do it for them. That's gang mentality. That's terrorist mentality. That's mafia, crime boss mentality. The leader doesn't have to give orders. He just needs loyalists. And the church will not support you. If you get busted, like that bishop, for sex trafficking, church will not support you. But notice the PR guy says it's unacceptable for members and local leaders. He sort of left a group out, the leaders of the church. Where were they in that comment? Where is the church commenting about the Des Nat organization on Twitter, who are threatening my life and others? They don't even know about me, I guess. I'm not on Twitter anymore. But they've generally commented their intentions to murder those who leave the church. And I just told you why we left the church, because we were victims of abuse and corruption and hatred. The Constitution is hanging by a thread, as Joseph Smith said it would. And Mormons, instead of trying to restore the Constitution, would rather cut the final thread themselves. And it's just shocking. Mormons are Judas. You have all betrayed Jesus, metaphorically. You have put him to an open shame. Because when you have done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me. So says Jesus, according to the author who said that it was Jesus who said it. Is it really so hard to love everyone? And I guess it is, because you've been brainwashed. The church leaders have psychologically manipulated you to defend the church over the gospel of Jesus. You have betrayed this nation by denying us our rights. You are conspiratorial traitors. Anybody who violates our rights is a threat. So it's not just our government, it's not just businesses, it's not just the church, it's the people as well. We have transformed the promise and the hope for a better nation into a despotism, a despot. Survival of the fittest is not a true theory. It's a fallacy. It's unsound. But they've convinced you and have infiltrated the government to conform it in society. Just like psychiatrists. They continually tell you that you have a problem in your brain over and over and over and over and over and over until you break. That's what they do in jail. That's why they put you in jail before your trial. They don't allow you bail if you're poor. And so they try to break you over and over and over again. Just by keeping you in jail, you lose your job, you lose your family, you lose your possessions. And people break. I want my life back. I will plead to whatever you want if I can get out. But guys like me, we don't break. I was supposed to be locked up forever. And so yes, it required a miracle to break me out of prison. Just like in the Book of Mormon. Those who were held captive were miraculously freed. We actually see the story of how they were freed. And it was miraculous. But yet at the same time we see that it was humans doing the work to get them free. That it wasn't God coming down, smiting everybody into ash, you know, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or, yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Everybody's face melts off, the wax figures. That's not how God works. It is consequences of us and our actions. You guys have heard that primary song over and over and over again. And yet you don't care. It doesn't apply to you, apparently. You are above the law because you are God's chosen. Seriously? Remember? Murder and blasphemy against the Holy Ghost disqualifies you. Guess what you guys have done? And you think, oh, I haven't murdered anybody. Haven't you? When you bully somebody on the internet to the point where they break and they commit suicide, you don't think you had responsibility in that? So you're not going to break me. I just laugh at this. Because I have the intellect to know the truth. Other people don't. And so when you or others attack them, they don't have the knowledge necessary to defend themselves. And they break. They have a faith crisis, and they don't know where to turn, and they kill themselves. And then you become guilty of murdering them. You have bullied them to the point where they were murdered. You took away their rights, and you took away their life. And maybe even sometimes when you post a fake picture or a fake video, they've now got that technology, I guess. The Russians are using it. People are getting set up. People get revenge on somebody that broke up with them. And so they destroy them on the internet. The First Amendment allows, or is supposed to guarantee us, the right to take those who abuse us, who violate our rights, to take them to court and get a redress of grievances. But our government has denied us. The civil rights movement has been squashed. The government said, okay, here's your amendments, women and blacks, now leave us alone. And then they altered the laws to make sure that would never happen again. That's what the church has done. So the church altered the temple, again trying to say, here you go, women, leave us alone now. And here's slack, you can wear slacks. Leave us alone now. And then they put it in the temple. Don't talk about what goes on in the temple. That's never been the policy. Joseph Smith originally set it up to take the knowledge in the temple and spread it to the world. It was Brigham Young who turned it into a secret, a conspiracy, a threat, a covenant to murder yourself if you violate your covenants. Just because the church dropped those doesn't mean that it's still not in place in their minds. Bad seed does not produce good fruit. Just can't be done. Brigham Young is the seed, not Joseph Smith. His seed, his tree, his fruit was destroyed with his murder. Brigham Young planted his own seed in lovely Deseret. It is his fruit that you are witnesses to, as the church is the wealthiest church in the world over Catholics. And yet the church pays the least percentage to the poor. That's the fruit of the church. Neglecting the poor is the #1 sin that Ezekiel says that God destroyed Sodom for. It wasn't homosexuality, it was neglecting the poor. I have the right to expose the corruption of the church on my channel. Not on your channel, on my channel. I don't come onto your channel and try to silence you. There were times and other channels where I did make a comment and it was interpreted as an attack. And I tried to say, I'm not here to attack. This is your channel. I respect your channel. I was just trying to add to the discussion. And they still came on the attack. Most likely because they came to my channel and saw what I was posting. And so, yeah, I know I'm not welcome. And so I stay away from commenting as much as I can. But that doesn't give you the right to attack me on my channel. You know of the scripture in the Doctrine and Covenants that says you cannot be saved in ignorance. You cannot hide in a bubble away from criticism, away from Mormons warning you. Me. You can't cover your ears about what I say. You can't hide your eyes of what you see. You can't cover, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. The Catholics. That's Catholic doctrine, guys. It's not Mormon doctrine. You know you're supposed to pursue any and all truth, wherever it may be. But truth, not fallacy, not unsound argument. Truth. You're not supposed to pursue lies. You're not supposed to pursue hatred. You're supposed to pursue truth, wherever it may be found. And instead you use that to say, oh, these Christians, they talk about Jesus, and I'm going to conform my religion to their religious beliefs, and then I'm going to impose it on the church members. That's how Christianity infiltrated Mormonism and altered the doctrines, even beyond that of Brigham Young. So I guess in the tree analogy, that would be like Brigham Young's sick fruit or sick tree gets infested by bugs that further infect it. That's the best analogy I can come up with. I mean, this is just sad, Mormons. You've betrayed God. You've betrayed your country. You know, how many of you were Eagle Scouts? How many of you were at least scouts and got the citizenship in the community, citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world? I guess you didn't care. See, as a scout, it's not loyalty to scouts. It was designed to make you a better person. And yes, they had Freemasonic symbolism, like the fleur-de-lis. And they had some Russian symbolisms, you know, Eagle Scout, that's America. And the Bear Cubs, Russia. The Wolf Pack, Nazi Germany. So yeah, there was some strangeness as I look back. But my experience was none of that influencing. My influencing was to be loyal to the people of the community, of the nation, of the world. Not putting community against other communities, not putting nation against other nations, or state against other states, not putting race above other race. You know, that's why I had no problems taking over as Neighborhood Watch president here in this neighborhood. They didn't choose me to be Neighborhood Watch president. They chose me to be vice president. And so as vice president, I did the best I could to do what I could in that role, to assist the president. Then the president quit. And according to the process, I automatically became the president. And so my job was to do what the people in this neighborhood wanted, and that was to protect them. But they didn't want to do the protecting. They wanted somebody else to do it for them. And I tried. I was the only one patrolling the neighborhood during the peak crime hours of 2 to 4, and then 1 to 4 when they realized that I was patrolling on a regular basis. So I had to expand into 1 o'clock because they were trying to. But yeah, I cleaned up this neighborhood. And then nobody supported me, and then my life changed. And I was no longer able to patrol the neighborhood. But they had already abandoned me. And so now the crime is back, as turf wars have emerged. The Kearns gang and the gang from the north and the gang from the east and west are all vying for the territory. That's what happens. A vacuum was created because nobody in the neighborhood wanted to help. So, alrighty. Nobody, I'm only preaching to the choir at this point in the video. Everybody else has already left. So, I'll end it here.